The Secrets of Middle-earth is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit GiveStarQuest.com.
You're listening to The Secrets of Middle-earth, where we discuss the hidden themes and deeper layers found in the works of J.R.R. Tolkien, whether in his writings or in any of the media derived from them. I'm Thomas Salerno, back in the driver's seat once again for Secrets of Middle-earth, and joining me today is Jeff Hecker. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, Thomas.
And also Robert Story. Hello, Robert.
Hello there.
And Rob Leonardi. Hey there, Rob. Ow. Wasn't expecting that. But as you can probably tell from the animal noises, we are discussing today the animals of Middle-earth, the goodest boys and girls of all of Arda, the animals of the Legendarium. But before listeners, you can't see it, but there actually is an animal on our video feed right now. We could have almost planned that. Very appropriate. Or Robert's cat.
There's no possible way I could have planned that.
No, yeah. Good kitty. But before we get into that, Jeff, you have some Middle-earth news for us.
Yeah, we actually have a bit since we haven't we haven't had an episode since a lot of this has come out. So Rings of Power Season 3 has been confirmed to premiere in November. So I believe the premiere date is November 11th. I don't know if that's going to be 3 episodes like they've done before. No trailer yet or anything. I assume there will be a trailer at Comic-Con in July. So we'll probably do a breakdown of that trailer when that comes out. And then along with the news of Rings of Power, we have confirmed casting for Anarion. So I think, Thomas, I know you and I have been on this since Rings of Power started, and we're like, where is Anarion? So I think,
where's Anarion? Justice for Anarion. Come on, where is it?
Where is my son?
Yeah. So yes, he is cast. I can't remember if I saw the name of the actor, but he will be in the season. So and then along with Rings of Power, there's another Tolkien film in development, which we talked about that it was announced, but we have actually a log line now. And this is or actually we may not have talked about it on the podcast, but we have a film coming from Stephen Colbert, who is a devout Tolkien fan. And it's supposed to cover the chapters from Fellowship, Three's Company to Fog on the Barrow Downs. And it's written by Colbert and his son, Peter McGee, and Philippa Boyens, who's, I believe, a producer or writer on the original Lord of the Rings films. But the logline reads, 14 years after the passing of Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin set out to retrace the first steps of their adventure. Meanwhile, Sam's daughter Eleanor has discovered a long-buried secret and is determined to uncover why the War of the Ring was very nearly lost before it even began. So that's in development. No date yet, because I'm sure it's still being written, and I think they said they've been working on it for about a year, so it might start going into pre-production once The Hunt for Gollum kind of wraps up. And then we did get some official casting news for The Hunt for Gollum, that someone named Strider has been cast. So we'll see what that mystery character is when the movie comes out. We also have the casting of Halvard, who is a Dunedain ranger. Kate Winslet as a character named Marigold, who many are speculating is going to be Smeagol's grandmother. Lee Pace, Ian McKellen, and Elijah Wood are back as Thranduil, Gandalf, and Frodo. So, unfortunately, no Tauriel or Legolas or anybody yet.
Oh, I wanted Tauriel back.
So
did we? I actually don't have a big beef with Tauriel, but I had to make the joke. So
yeah,
Tauriel's not the problem. The other one is the problem.
So yeah, that's the new. Oh, and there was something. I guess Amazon had been developing a game based on Middle Earth as well, that it's been in development for a few years, but they just announced they canceled it. So so yeah, that happened. And then I did also see, I've only seen it in like Indian, like the country India, like news sites, that Rings of Power season 4 has been ordered, but I haven't seen it on any, like US.
You just peruse
sites.
Indian websites,
when I'm bored.
Look, you're scrolling on Instagram and it just comes up.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
So it seems like I'm assuming they will, because it's Jeff Bezos' pet project, but yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, that's our news.
All right. So as we get into animals of Middle Earth, and this episode, by the way, is like by popular demand, because people on our Discord really wanted to see it. So, and I'm glad. I actually like this topic. I want to make a distinction that maybe we could hash out before we begin, that it seems to me that there are both natural animals in Arda, and then, which are like the normal everyday animals that we kind of experience, here in the 7th age, or whatever this age of Middle Earth is. Although some natural animals have some strange abilities, as we'll get into, but there are also supernatural animals in Arda who either seem to be Maiar in animal form, or at least animals from Valinor, which appear like elves to be very long-lived and be, preternaturally gifted and intelligent. Have you guys also noticed this trend that there's basically this these two kind of, I'll admit, very porous categories of natural and supernatural animals in Middle Earth?
I mean, I never thought about it literally until I was listening to the last episode, but I've never seen a bat big enough to let an elf fly by wearing its skin. Also, I've never seen a bat let somebody fly by wearing its skin.
Right.
So I'm really hoping that's supernatural, or else I can't go outside after dark, like, ever.
Ever, yeah. And there's no bat large enough to allow an elf being played by Orlando Bloom to glide on. Anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right that there's definitely animals that seem, even if they're not technically Maiar, they're almost like a third type of Ainur, where they're like still below. They're not, they're not quite as high in the in the hierarchy as a Maiar is, but like the eagles of like Manway's eagles, that I think the giant eagles down the line have descended from, and it's similar to how they introduce the Maiar blood into the human bloodline through Thingol and Melian, and then their daughter Luthien married Beorn. So it's kind of a similar deal of their kind of, there's that kind of supernatural angelic blood, animal blood or whatever you want to call it, kind of trickling down into the mortal animals.
So like they've uplifted natural animals, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, so the thought that occurs to me as I'm like thinking this through. So like, we already know that the Valar can create races. They're sentient as long as Aule is paying attention to them.
Right.
What's stopping any of them from creating animals like that Eru made in his image for like, oh, this is nice, I want my own. And that's how we have like Manway's giant eagles that can talk.
Right.
Like,
well, depending on what universe you're in.
Oh, right, yeah, in the movie universe, they don't talk for some reason.
No, they can talk, they choose not to.
They choose not to. They're
Yes.
reticent, yeah.
Well, I think it's part of it's just the wide variety of different abilities that both animals can have, but humanoids can have too. Because we have, Beorn, right? Who is a skin changer and can look like an animal. Where did he come from? And where exactly, is he actually, is the skin, here's the question. Is the skin that he changes into the human skin? Is he really just an animal? And the skin changing is the humanoid that we see.
That's a good point, Rob, because the book, The Hobbit, raises both of those possibilities and then doesn't answer. So,
Yeah. Like Gandalf says he's descended from a long line. So there's more of these guys somewhere. Or used to be. Or like.
Used to be. Yeah.
Either way. So, all right, we're throwing it way back in season 1 of Rings of Power, when Halbrand did his first, like, big action scene. I remember turning to my wife and going, he's a freaking skin changer. I'll bet money on it. Thankfully, I did not. But
I mean, in a sense, he is.
He can turn from goo to human, apparently.
He just has to eat you first.
So, like, and yeah, Gandalf specifically says, like, he's descended from a long line, and he never gives a straight answer. Neither Gandalf nor the narrator ever says, so is this a bear that can turn into a dude, or a dude that can turn into a bear?
Right.
It could very easily go either way. So, like, there's something in the water, because it's always man-way, like, it's almost always up to something in the background every time. Like, I don't know. These are not natural creatures, and there's endless. We could speculate endlessly on where did these stupid things come from.
Right, and it's almost like I don't want any.
They might hear you.
That's true. These windows are not giant bat proof. I know for a fact.
Right. It's almost like I don't want any like clear answers on that, you know, because that would kind of spoil the fun.
it adds to the, like, what did he say in fairy stories? The arresting strangeness of it. Mm-hmm. To have, like, these magical creatures. Like, bats don't grow that big. Eagles don't grow that big. Hopefully wargs don't grow that big. I've never met one in real life, and I never actually want to, so... At least based on the one from Rings of Power, chihuahuas don't grow that big.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe. I had a chihuahua once that was bigger than your standard chihuahua. Not that big, but, you know. I feel like if we fed her enough, maybe. But I don't know. Chihuahua,
there's definitely a fudge factor when it comes to the different types of animals, between them being mythical and just our regular everyday animal, right? And I think that the idea originally, all the way back to Numenor, right, was kind of the Garden of Eden aspect, where animals were used in a very stewardship sort of way, where they were coexisting with humans, and they weren't abused, but they could still be used, right? We are called to do that with animals now. We're not supposed to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on animals when you could use that money for taking care of your own, human family. And we can use animals. We can use them for food. We can use them for fuel. We can use them for clothing. And I think you have those regular types of animals. But if you're going to try to do that to one of these mythical animals, that's where a problem comes, because they have, in a sense, like the rational soul that regular animals would be missing.
Yeah, because they've either been uplifted or, possess, and I mean, there's in one of the books, they even talk about how, like, the elves taught the trees to speak. So even some of the trees might have rational souls, like, getting away from animals, but still, like, it appears like
Treebeard does.
Yeah, that raises the question, like, are ants trees? Yeah,
Are ants animals?
Right, or are they animal, vegetable, or mineral?
Yes.
Yes, probably.
I need a British guy, preferably a member of the military.
Yeah, we'll talk about him in a minute, or in a few minutes. But the horses, like Bill learn Bill the pony, like when he's at Tom Bombadil's, he starts picking up like a greater intelligence from being around Tom Bombadil's animals, and from like there's an idea that
in the narrative.
Yeah, there's an idea that a regular animal can be, by coming into contact with something supernatural, can be changed.
Influence.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like humans have been doing that for tens of thousands of years, influencing animals, domesticating them, taming them, you know, bringing them into our space, into our lives, essentially, you know, where, you know, you take something like a wolf, which would have originally been man's greatest rival and enemy, and then becoming man's best friend, you know, as domestic dogs. You know, there's a C.S. Lewis talked about this in one of his books, where like in that sense, the animal coming into the human's orbit is thus ennobled by humans. I think I forget which book this was, but he was talking about the potential for animal afterlife. And I think he said, like, if there was any animal afterlife, it would only be those animals that had come into humanity's orbit and kind of been uplifted by humans. But we don't want to get too much into mysterious world territory here. Talking about animal afterlife.
Jimmy might just join, and then we're going to be here for a little bit.
But so speaking of dogs, there is a very famous dog in Middle-earth, Huan, the Hound of Valinor, the best boy ever in Middle-earth. I've always gone with the idea that I like the paintings where he's an Irish wolfhound. I've always gone with the idea that that's what he is. I mean, he fights two of the most, you know, the greatest wolves in Middle-earth, both Sauron in wolf form and then later Karkaroth, the great wolf of Angband. But Huan's got to be like the best animal character ever, maybe, in Middle-earth. What do you guys think?
Anybody who 1v1 Sauron as either a wolf or, depending on, like, I think in History of Middle-earth, it's a werewolf. It's like, I don't care how big of a dog you are. If you're going to fight a werewolf, you're the best boy.
Yeah.
No, I love Huan, and yeah, because he was Orome's hound, right? One of Orome's hunting hounds, and that came to follow the sons of Feanor. And then when they tried to kidnap Luthien, Huan turned on them and started following Luthien. And then he talks, and then he fights.
Only 3 times though.
Right.
Yeah, he has like
3.
he's fated. And we'll talk about fate on a future episode, but he is fated only to talk 3 times, which he does. And it's like, he's such a like, fairy tale animal. Like,
or is he Balaam's donkey?
There's an interesting point. Yeah. Now, I believe in that case, isn't it like the angel that Balaam encounters is essentially allowing him to hear the donkey's thoughts, you know, like, or whatever. Like, it's like, ow, you're hurting me, you know. It's like, yeah.
Hang on, my Google search history is about to get real weird.
Now, but what Robert mentioned is you know, bringing up werewolves, right? The original werewolf, I'm going to butcher the name, but I think it's Draugluin.
Yeah, Draugluin, yeah.
And like that was bred by Morgoth himself. So is that an animal? The original, I mean, obviously werewolves now are humans that are kind of turned, right? They have some sort of disease, but
they're skin changers.
Original, right? They're bad, evil skin changers. But the original werewolf, like, is that an animal? Is that Morgoth's trying to make a Huan?
Right, yeah. The way I've heard it explained is that, like, Morgoth and Sauron's original werewolves are evil Maiar that they've forced to inhabit wolf bodies. So they're basically possessed wolves.
demon-possessed wolf.
Demon-possessed wolf. Yeah, exactly.
It's always demon-possessed wolves.
Yeah. Which I wonder if that is that what the giant bats are then? Demon-possessed bats, which just sounds
I mean,
horrible.
when a demon's going to possess any kind of animal, I can see it turning ugly and giant.
And misshapen, yeah.
I mean, okay, so this is a fun conversation we had the other day of like, okay, so Morgoth can't create anything, right? He can only twist and pervert. So you get like, if you subscribe to the main theory, you get elves via Morgoth, they become orcs. You get wolves via Morgoth, they become werewolves. You get dragons, come from super dragons that are never mentioned but clearly have to exist.
Do they?
The dragon came from somewhere.
That's true.
It was just a lizard.
The trolls, the theory I always heard, and I really love this, are corrupted ents.
Right.
Which I've always found like there's basically no evidence for this, but all the logic tracks.
Right, yeah.
So like, you have things like wargs and whatnot, they're probably, again, just corrupted. Maybe hunting dog. Actually, wargs could be an attempt to make Huan. After Sauron got savaged by him, he was like, I gotta get me a hunting dog. This thing was nasty.
And the wargs become like the most dependable allies of the orcs. You have the warg riders and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it's a twisted version of like man's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, actually, I came up with this theory on the spot, and I like it more and more.
Yeah. Yeah.
This feels right.
It's funny to see how dogs are portrayed in Middle-earth. You could tell Tolkien was a dog person because cats are almost always in a negative context in Middle-earth. Or
that tracks.
Yeah, or go read his cat poem from what is it? The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, where there's like this house cat dreaming about like devouring his owners as a lion or something like that. It is weird. But
which even goes into his kids with Roverandom, which I'm hoping to do on this podcast soon.
Yes. Rover, yeah. Rover, I think, technically exists in Middle-earth, as we'll get into. But we won't cover him here because I want him to have his own show. But with cats, like I think the one that fans have latched onto is Tevildo, Prince of Cats, who I guess technically is a form of Sauron because that Tevildo only exists in the history of Middle-earth in an early version of Beorn and Luthien, and that role is later supplanted by Sauron's role. So I've always headcanoned it that Tevildo does exist as another one of Sauron's forms, but he has these other cats who kind of giant cats who are kind of his, I don't know, like groupies. I don't know, his weird like
his entourage,
these weird cat servants. Entourage, yeah, that's right.
Well, see, that's why you had to get rid of it, because there's no way a cat would ever serve anything other than itself. So, like, that's just logically impossible.
I feel like Tolkien says that when he compares Shelob to Sauron's cat. I think he says something exactly like that in The Return of the King or something. Yeah, where it's like, she doesn't serve Sauron because she's like his cat.
There.
She's independent. Yeah.
She's just there eating the scraps off of his hidden gate thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, are the giant spiders that are the brood of Shelob, because like what Shelob and Ungoliant even are is never explained. And it seems like as they, throughout the generations, the so-called giant spiders become smaller and smaller and smaller. Like Shelob's not as big as her mother Ungoliant. And the spiders of Mirkwood that are the spawn of Shelob are much smaller than Shelob is. So will they eventually just become normal spider sized?
Well,
God, I hope so.
Are they smaller or are they just younger?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully both. I need, in order for me to sleep at night, I need them to be both.
Yeah.
But that is a really good point. Like, if left unattended, could Shelob become as big as Ungoliant? Because, like, Minas Tirith is, like, right there. It's not that far away.
Right. If she had enough to eat, would she? You know?
Yeah, that would also be the catch. Like, goblin meat's only going to go so far.
And would Sauron let her get big enough to be a threat, too? Because if they kind of have a mutually beneficial arrangement, but he would remember what happened to Melkor, or more, I guess, Morgoth and Ungoliant. So I think he would have prevented Shelob from getting, you know, like keeping an eye on his servants and not trusting them, or, you know, his allies, but not trusting them too much. So yeah, I don't think he would have let her get that big either.
Right.
Or he would have learned from his master's example and paid his henchmen.
Right. Yeah. But getting back to cats real quick. There's also the cats of Queen Beruthiel, and I believe this only shows up. Aragorn mentions it when they're in Moria, but I believe the explanation of it is only in the appendices, where there was this Queen of Gondor, who I believe she's actually from Umbar, and somehow she marries into the royal family of Gondor, but she's like this she's like the classic fairy tale wicked queen, right? And a wicked queen has got to have wicked servants, and in her case, there's these cats who are like her secret police. They're always snooping around. And then they're all black cats. But then she has one white cat who spies on the black cats. Which is very strange.
Yeah, and I think she
watch the Watchmen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, doesn't she also like she tortures the cats, and like they kind of they get twisted, but they still follow her because I guess cats. I guess I guess you're right that Tolkien didn't really like cats all that much.
He really was not a cat person.
Yeah.
He didn't like cats, and he didn't like spiders.
Sorry to our Discord members, because I know we're big cat. There's a lot of cat people on the Discord, but
yes, yeah.
Read Chronicles of Narnia if you want good cats to be portrayed.
That's right. Yeah,
maybe that's the sticking point between Tolkien and Lewis. Yeah. Lewis was a cat person and Tolkien was a dog person.
The Anglicans liked cats, and apparently the cat holics don't, which doesn't make any sense
dogs,
to me. But
yeah. So is Tevildo then like the anti-Aslan? Now we're getting into like very strange speculation territory. But I think it's natural to move from cats to, move from Sylvester to Tweety, basically. So from cats to birds. I thought putty tat. So there's lots of birds in Middle-earth of all sizes and shapes. We've got the gray eagles of Manwë, who are not just in Middle-earth, but in Valinor and Numenor. They get around.
And even their Rohirrim.
That's right. Yeah, they're in Rohirrim too. I mean, I think they've become such a recognizable symbol. I mean, I have on the shelf behind me my Gandalf on Gwaihir Funko Pop. So they've just the Great Eagles have just become like this very recognizable symbol of the Lord of the Rings. So I feel like they have to be in anything Middle-earth on screen now. They're
they're hiding somewhere in all of it.
Yeah. They're always in the background.
Yeah, the eagles are going to be the closest thing that I get to a phoenix, because phoenix is like my all-time love mythical animal. I wish it was real. Phoenixes are amazing. A great symbol of Jesus Christ himself. And I wish I had a phoenix in Lord of the Rings somewhere.
That's interesting. So my favorite mythical animal is the griffin.
Ooh.
Which is also very eagle-like. It has both feline and eagle features, which I find very fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, if I ever got a tattoo, it would be a phoenix that's transposing itself onto the crucifix.
Ooh,
I wish I would.
That's interesting.
That would be a very cool
that would be very
actually.
Cool. But the eagles are they do a lot. They kind of represent Manwë. They're his messengers. And also sometimes they seem to represent Ilúvatar. I remember reading on how when the kings of Numenor would go up to the high place and pray 3 times a year, the prayers to Iluvatar, there would always be eagles there, kind of watching over the proceedings. So there seems to be, and I know Tolkien said he was fascinated with eagles because for one of the reasons he mentioned was that one of his favorite saints is St. John the Evangelist, who is represented by an iconography by the great eagle. So, and I mean, his name is John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, so I can understand why he has a fascination with St. John. So that's cool. But you have many other types of bird. Yeah.
I was going to say, and we also see the eagles, like if the eagles show up in Numenor, like there's problems that they're there to oversee, because like, when, you know,
or when a king is named.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah,
king, false king, problematic king.
But he takes it as
a disguised king.
But yeah, I don't know if Rob was joking about Rings of Power with the
when, their ability to talk could have come in handy during that scene, and they did.
They could have said,
Rings of Power could have easily distinguished itself from the Jackson verse if it just let the freaking eagles talk.
It could have been off screen. Like it could have cut to Al Farazan and been like, wait, you can talk? I don't need to see the mouth moving.
Yeah.
They just told the people of Numenor, you chose poorly.
You just they fly away. Yeah. Doom. Oh, now they're representing Mando, so that's
good. Apparently, Mandos has an eagle now, apparently.
I feel like his birds would be like vultures or something. Like.
Oh my gosh!
Just a horrifyingly large crow.
Like a buzzard, just like flying over you, just like.
I don't know what it did, but I regret it.
Speaking of carrion birds, though, there's many of them in Middle Earth. Of course, you have the Crabine from Dunland, like in the movie, but like that are the spies of Saruman. But you also have good corvids as well. You have the ravens of Raven Hill. And I remember in the book, like Balin makes this distinction between ravens and crows, that crows are suspicious and don't like the dwarves, whereas the ravens have always been the friends of the dwarves. And they seem to be either uplifted natural crows, or maybe they are Maiar. The one who appears in The Hobbit, the book, is Roax, son of Kark, which I don't know if anyone here has listened to the Andy Serkis version of The Hobbit, but it's really good. But his rendition of Roax, son of Kark is like, I couldn't listen to it. I had to because it sounds like this. He does this weird voice, like nails on a chalkboard voice for this raven, and I'm just like, skip 30 seconds until it's over.
I mean, it's part of the fairy tale aspect of The Hobbit, right? Like it's much more like dreamlike. It's more, in all the best ways, childlike. And since it's childlike, and you got to take a pot shot or two at your buddy C.S. Lewis, the animals talk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and in some cases can only talk to certain people. Like you have the thrush, who doesn't talk to Bilbo or the dwarves, but Bard can understand the thrush's speech when the thrush delivers the message about Smaug's weak spot.
And it's a common enough occurrence to where he's like, yeah, the dragon does have a weak spot, thanks. Like,
yeah, he doesn't just go like, am I going nuts? This bird just talked to me,
Well, he rolls with it.
Well, and I think in the movie it's more weird, but in the book, I'm if I remember right, in the book it was more so like he Bard specifically grew up knowing that language, like knowing the language of the thrush, didn't just like, oh hey, I got bestowed the gifts of tongues, or the gifts of knowing tongues or something like that. It was more like this. It was part of his ancestry of his ancestors worked with the thrushes and was able to communicate with them.
Yeah, it definitely was. Like they mentioned that his line specifically, knows the thrush language, which again, it's like, that's something that works in The Hobbit, and like, probably that, although who knows, have you guys heard like that Tolkien at one point, he was going to rewrite The Hobbit wholesale to make it line up with The Lord of the Rings. And I'm sure that's one of the things he might have dropped if he went through the whole
started to. He got like the first chapter done, and everybody told him, like, please stop.
Yeah. His early readers told him, they said, this is good, but it's not The Hobbit. And so then he completely.
Well, he did rewrite the Riddles in the Dark.
Yeah, Riddles in the Dark. Yes. He was going to do more, though, a lot more. Yeah. Because he's like, oh, now it doesn't match up with the Lord of the Rings, and I was just like, it doesn't matter.
That's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
And then they decided to make some movies that rewrite The Hobbit.
We're less okay.
They did it anyway. Yeah, it's like,
but the opposite way, it got less like Lord of the Rings.
The Rings, right?
Good.
Exactly,
he kept working on that painting of the leaf and just.
No, that's right. Going back to Niggle, yeah. And I think, and so in terms of other birds, we were talking before we were recording about that swans appear at least a few times in the Legendarium. And Robert, I believe you looked up the exact reference.
I have it pulled up on Tolkien Gateway. And like in my head, I'm like, yeah, the swans pulled the boats for the Teleri, which I am right about once. It's not like they're. Because in my head, I'm like, yeah, the Teleri had the swan boats, and they're pulled by giant swans. No, just the one time. Ish.
But they were very important swans.
Yeah, like they named their city Alqualande after the swans. They built
Swan
their
Haven,
boats in Swan. Yeah, Swan Haven. Very important.
If you name it, they will come. They're just trying to get them to come back.
Fair.
Yeah.
If I had giant swans to pull my boats, I would also try to get the swans to come back. That sounds super handy.
Swans are unfriendly. I don't know if you've ever seen one up close.
These ones were apparently very friendly.
Yeah, these were uplifted swans.
Yeah.
No, I agree. When my wife and I first got married, we were in an apartment, and our apartment had like ponds that every apartment was by. And right outside ours was this family of swans, and they did not want you coming within 100 feet of that pond.
Nope. Yeah. There was a pond we always used to go to when I was a kid, and, where they had these chairs set up where you could sit by the pond side. But during like this time of year when the swans breed, Big Daddy Swan would come up, spread his wings, and walk very menacingly towards you until you went away. Showing that, they are very, I guess, intimidating birds. I can't imagine what a giant swan would be like, And then the swans also, I don't know if they're the similar type of swans or different, but Ulmo sends them to guide Tuor to Vinyamar, where he gets his armor that will grant him passage into Gondolin.
Yeah, and doesn't Gondolin also have swan iconography too? They have. So I haven't really read the histories of Middle Earth, but I've some of the clips I've seen, or I've read or heard and heard read out. I think they might, like, the scenes of Tuor coming into Gondolin and coming in through the many gates, like one of them is a swan gate or something like that.
Okay. Dol Amroth in Gondor has swan on its banner. It's a giant silver swan is the symbol of Dol Amroth.
The Swan Knights specifically.
The Swan Knights.
I know.
Yeah.
I do. So I remember the version I remember is the Fall of Gondolin, where he rewrote like the entrance to Gondolin, like 3 times that I recall, and he could never quite decide what the gates were. Like, he had a gold gate and a silver gate, but like there were also other gates, and it could be one of them was a swan gate. That totally could be a thing.
Now, what about the Crown of Gondor that has the wings?
The wings, yeah. Now that I believe they are supposed to be gull wings, and that brings me to the gulls, which are important iconography for the elves. Right. Which is funny because Tolkien always writes about how hauntingly beautiful seagull sounds are, and I'm like, are they really though? Like, they're beach rats. Seagulls, like, there's tons of seagulls around here. I mean, the beach is a 10-minute walk from my house. Seagulls eat out of the dumpster and steal your food when you're on the beach and are dirty and unfriendly. So I don't know how he gets this. He associates it with like the beautiful heart-aching sea longing of the elves, like the cry of the gulls. And I'm like, they're so dirty and gross. Like,
my wife tells a story when she was in England. She had a seagull steal the donut out of her mouth. So it's not even like the English seagulls are different. No, they're worse over there. What seagulls did Tolkien meet, and where are they?
Where are they? Yeah.
Well, maybe he met.
But again, it's kind of like the whole fairy story thing, where the seagull as a symbol is more important than the seagull in reality.
Well, and it could also be, I don't know, because it could be that Tolkien met Elwing in her bird form, because speaking of skin changers.
Oh yeah, she becomes a gull at one point. Yeah. So yeah, many birds in the Lord of the Rings, but I think it's time to move on to more of our four-legged friends, because there are a few others. Okay, now this must refer to the Hobbit movies, because somebody put down rabbits. So
yeah,
the Roscabel rabbits.
Yeah,
I actually liked that scene.
Well, so not only do you have those rabbits, right? Mm-hmm. But you also have the regular rabbits that are eaten.
Oh yes, the conies.
Yes,
boiled and mashed in a stew. Or I guess it's the potatoes.
It's like
what's taters?
Reasons we can't bring any potatoes on a Ranger cookout, because it'll be 7 guys all quoting that scene. And I am one of them.
Right.
I think the references to the hares or to the rabbits is there's those giant hares or just those giant species of rabbits that are in Europe, and I think in England. Like I think there's
Belgian giants.
Yeah.
Yep. I knew somebody who used to have one of those.
I just saw one this weekend, actually, on the side of the road. Like it was in like someone's like little kitty playpen. I don't know what was going on. It was like they were trying to sell the thing or something. But I looked at it, I was like, that's a rabbit. That's the size of a dog. Okay.
When I saw recently, I think they're in Spain. There's a Spanish order of nuns that are breeding they're saving this giant rabbit like subspecies.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I saw that news story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I mostly put it on there because of the Hobbit. You see the rabbits. They get Gandalf out of trouble at Dol Guldur. The
rescue rabbit.
I forget what I think Radagast uses them to draw the
drawing his sleigh because he doesn't have reindeer.
He's not the red wizard of the North Pole. Yeah. He's the brown wizard.
And speaking of the Hobbit, have we forgotten the hedgehog named Sebastian?
Sebastian.
With some effort, yes, I did.
Thanks for reminding us, Jeff.
That actor hated that hedgehog. He just got done playing the doctor and having to work on a green screen, and then he has to go to this thing, and he's like, I finally get to act, and he gets to act with a hedgehog that
CGI
steals the shows.
And on the opposite end of size variation from hedgehogs, we have the olifants.
Yes.
Which I just pulled up the poem here that Sam says.
Ooh.
Gray as a mouse, big as a house, nose like a snake, I make the earth shake. As I tramp through the grass, trees crack as I pass. With horns in my mouth, I walk in the south, flapping big ears. Beyond count of years, I stomp round and round, never lie on the ground, not even to die. Oliphant am I, biggest of all, huge, old, and tall. If you'd ever met me, you wouldn't forget me. If you never do, you won't think I'm true. But old Oliphant am I, and I never lie. So, that is a Hobbit rhyme from the Shire of their dim memories, I guess, from their wandering days of Oliphants.
From their days wandering from the east in Rings of Power. We could see Oliphants.
Season 3 Rings of Power.
We could, yeah. If they want to make it even more like the Jackson movies, we could see Oliphants, yeah. But yeah, I like how, Tolkien explains briefly in the books how, no, these are not elephants. They are their own distinct species because they're much bigger. And of course, the Jackson movies inflates them to preposterous dinosaurian dimensions of how big they are. But
if you're going to take the White City, you need a big siege horse monster thing.
I mean, true enough, yeah. And probably the result of strange breeding program from Sauron. He's they're gonna take normal elephants and turn them into mutants, maybe. But
there's normal elephants too.
Yeah, there are normal elephants apparently in Middle Earth, but Oliphants or the Mumakil, as they're called by the Gondorians. I like Gollum's reaction to the poem because Sam's you said there were Southron soldiers, so I asked if there were Oliphants because I've always wanted to see them. And he goes, Smeagol doesn't want to see them. Smeagol doesn't want them to be. And I'm like, well, that's not really up to you.
In his defense, there are many things in Middle-earth that I also don't want to be.
Yeah.
So, I get it. And I imagine several other Rohirrim probably sympathized with him.
Yes, which they clearly, Tolkien was clearly referencing, I think, the Battle of Cannae from the Second Punic War, where, Hannibal's elephants, trample the Roman cavalry. So I think that's clearly...
No, it's definitely a reference to, just Hannibal's whole march on Rome. You've got your legions, and they see that thing coming up, I don't know how to fight that.
Yep, they're nope, bye. Although the books also mention their eyes as a weak spot. And that there were some Rohirrim and other warriors who had to get up close to shoot at the eyes. I'm that's a suicide mission. I'm you're not coming back from that. You may hit them in the eyes, but you're not coming back from that.
You're still charging at a
They just need Legolas to do that, except he's just going to shoot him in the head, and that'll run down.
With 2 arrows.
We've talked about Beorn's bears, but we didn't mention his animal servants. Yet.
Yeah, he's got a whole menagerie in there.
A whole menagerie of animals that can walk on their hind legs and deliver plates of food to the table. And sheep can set the table. And I'm he's going full on Narnia at this point with animals setting the table and bringing the food. I expect Mr. and Mrs. Beaver to walk in at any moment.
So this scene was written after he watched any Disney movie and went, well, I can beat that.
Oh, no, yeah. He notoriously did not like those movies. So,
oh, yeah.
I could do the whole thing where I could do that better. Yeah, but it's Beorn, he just has, which may provide more fuel to our theory that he may be an animal who just takes human shape because he seems to have this rapport with the various animals, except for wargs, who he despises. There's that one point where he nails a warg skin to a tree. Yeah, it's
So an interesting question might be, so if, let's say,
Beorn actually is a bear that can turn into a man. Is
Yeah.
he domesticating this menagerie and like slowly getting them ready to turn into men as well? Are we gonna have like goat?
It's like Animal Farm.
Yeah. But like,
Is that how the Beornings come about?
it could be. Is this how he continues his line? Like, how does this work?
We don't want to go too far down that road, I guess. Like,
No, that's exactly as far as
It's
I'm
like
going.
it's the good type of werewolf where it's a werebear, but like
a
good.
berserker. Yeah, like a good berserker, basically.
Yeah,
Like,
civilized berserker.
yeah.
Ish. Civilized-ish. You know,
And
you still have to be nice.
So I wonder if there's any relation between the Beornings, the skin changers, and the dancing bears of Numenor. That's right, folks. You heard me right. The dancing bears of It's not a joke. It's actually a thing that exists. Look it up.
But
Please
those
look it up.
dancing bears, those are just the bears from the Letters from Father Christmas, right? With the North Polar Bear dancing around the Christmas tree and
the great Mr. Cave Bear and his sons and all that. Yeah. Again, the Red Wizard's like, I can do that. You know, like.
I mean, the North Polar Bear definitely had to beat up
Goblins.
not golems.
Goblin.
Golem.
No, goblin.
Goblins. Goblins is the word.
And
Goblin
shoot them
is the
with
word.
a rocket launcher, if you remember.
Tolkien doing the MCU before we could.
That's right. Yeah. The dancing bears, like I think it's in the Nature of Middle Earth, describes this whole ceremony where, like, at this certain time of year, the bears of Numenor would get together and do this dance, and you weren't supposed to laugh during the dance because it insulted them. And it was supposed to be a very solemn occasion. But that reminds me of, if you remember, when they're in Beorn's house, Bilbo dreams of dancing bears. He has one of those telepathic dreams. He goes to Numenor, I guess.
Okay, but so Frodo has at least like semi-prophetic dreams.
Yep.
In the first part.
Yep.
Of Lord of the Rings. Like, is this like is it like a call forward to that, or did Tolkien just like the idea of hobbits have like some low-level precognition or something? I'm just gonna slide it in here every so often.
At least those hobbits who have a lot of dealings with elves, like Bilbo and Frodo do.
Or is it an aspect of touching the ring? It makes you invisible and gives you prophetic dreams.
Oh, that's true. You know, they both have the ring at that point.
Both, yeah.
Yeah, but before we get to horses, though, there's another like strange animal that I want to get to. The fox from the Fellowship of the Ring, the book.
Oh, I thought you were going to go for the Watcher in the water.
Is that even an animal, though?
That's more of a monster.
I thought that was like.
Which stay tuned.
Okay, but I want to do the fox first. So, like, there's
what does the fox say, Thomas?
Yeah, exactly. Don't even remind me. And you know, he does. That's the thing. He technically doesn't say anything. It's when the hobbits are making their way through the Shire on their way to Bree. The narrator says that one night they go to sleep, they let their campfire burn low, they don't set a watch because they're still in the Shire, and this fox comes along, the narrator says, passing through on business of his own. And then the narrator says that the fox thinks to himself that it's strange that there are 3 hobbits out at night, and he's like, you know, there's something strange behind this. And then the narrator says he was quite right, but he never found out any more about it. And I'm like, so is this just the narrator having a little bit of fun at the reader's expense, or is this is this fox sentient and really thinking about hobbits? Like,
okay, here's my thing.
Yeah.
So this, I think, is part of Tolkien's attempt to bridge The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings together, because they're still in the Shire. We're still in the safe. We're still in the comfortable. We're still like firmly within
the good realm of fairy, where things are magical and whimsical. And we have talking foxes. As the story goes on, it gets sadder and more difficult. And this is his way of saying, like, no, the Hobbit is part of this world. It's part of this universe.
Yeah.
The magic and the talking animals from the Hobbit are still here. They're just not as prioritized. So yeah, there's at least a semi-sentient fox in the Shire. But because he's in the Shire and because he's a fox, he never gets to find out, the rest of the story.
Yep. I completely agree with that, Robert. I think that since it is in a very early chapter, it's his way of signaling to people when this first came out. It's his way of signaling to readers of The Hobbit who read it in 1937 and afterwards that, yes, we're still in the same world. These things still exist, but they're not going to be the focus of this much more mature story set in Middle Earth. But that those whimsical things are still out there in odd little corners of Middle Earth, which is just neat.
Yeah, and you also know it's connected because at the end of The Hobbit, Gandalf shows up at the Shire and says, "I'm here to talk to you about the Fellowship Initiative." Sorry, you said shared universe, which made me think Marvel Cinematic Universe, so I had to...
Well, no, wait. We had that Inklings Initiative joke, remember?
I'm still waiting on Tolkien Part 2, the Inklings Initiative.
The Inklings Initiative, yes. Yeah, exactly.
Hollywood, get on it.
Well, they are making that... it's that comic book or that graphic novel called The Inklings that they are making into an animated movie.
Oh, the Mythmakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we have to cover at some point. I have it over in my big TBR to be read pile over there. So
yeah, I don't know when that movie is supposed to come out or if it's even been in production yet. But
and now I have a new book to add to my ever-growing to-read pile.
Yeah, I know. Mine is slowly taking over the apartment. But so yeah, the Thinking Fox is neat, and I like that it's there. I know our friend Caitlin Facisa with Tea with Tolkien made a nice little piece of art of the fox for one of her her little Tolkien-themed cards and art collection. I was like, oh, nice, it's the fox. We never see him again, but oh yeah, I see bugs on the list here. Yeah, I almost forgot about Beorn's bees. Please no. I have a little bit of apophobia, apophobia, fear of bees. So that when they're described as being as big as your thumb, I'm like, yeah, no thanks.
That would be horrifying. I like mead. I don't know if I like mead that much.
Well, Beorn's bees are friendly though. They're not like murder.
Unless maybe on his enemies they're not.
Yeah.
Like that thing, when that movie where Nicolas Cage is attacked by bees.
Man.
Not the bees. Well, and the other bugs that came to mind were, of course, it's in the movie, so it's not in the books. Is the moth that Gandalf uses to call the eagle to pick him up from Orthanc.
Yes, yeah, the moth messenger who appears also in the Hobbit movies
for some reason.
For some reason, and he speaks to it and it flies off and.
Yeah, and the other bugs.
Oh, and there are those flies in Mordor in the books. Those flies, even the flies have the Eye of Sauron mark
on their
on them.
Yeah, it's on their back, isn't it? It's on the wings,
on their back. Yeah.
And in Rings of Power, doesn't one of the weird sisters don't they turn into a flock of moths or something?
Big thing of oh yeah. That was weird.
That was a sister.
Nazgûls.
Yeah, then
the Nazgûls
are weird sisters either way.
Yeah,
and that one might be trademarked.
Right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so I see. Also, we want to talk about fish, right? No. I know Smeagol likes fish a lot.
Oh yeah, he loves fish.
Yes, he does.
And wriggling.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, there is a whale in the Legendarium, but I won't get to him now because he's also in Roverandom, so I want to save him. So,
well, there's also the sea dragon that destroys Halbrand's boat.
Yeah,
right.
I would consider. So I think we do want to later this year do a monsters episode maybe for Halloween. So we could definitely. I think that I would classify that as more of a monster than an animal. But
now,
aren't monsters just giant animals with a
that are misunderstood?
Evil twinge?
They're just misunderstood. Yeah, okay, but there is a creature that's on that weird borderland between animal and monster, and that is the fell beasts of the Nazgûl. Because actually we get a good description of them in the books where they talk about Sauron's like breeding process, where like he takes some flying pterodactyl creature that already existed in Middle Earth and it says nursed it with fell meats, and so apparently that makes it grow huge into like giant dragon-sized.
Really, it was one of those.
Thing.
It was one of those bats that was abused in really horrible ways with nasty meat, and there you go.
Yeah.
Well, at least the way they're portrayed in the movies, they're more like dragon-like than they are.
Why?
They're like snaky, but like snaky kind of dragon. Weird. All right, here's my thing about the Nazgûl. This is a hill that somebody will die on. Every time the Nazgûl are mentioned, it's both the Ringwraith and the Fell Beast. But if a Ringwraith is on screen in the books without the Fell Beast, they're just called Ringwraiths. So what are the Nazgûl? Is it the rider or the beast?
Oh, I definitely think it's the rider, because I do remember points very early on where Gandalf calls them Nazgûl, and they don't have the flying thing yet. So
really, it's kind of like an Avatar where they just take their tails and they merge together. And
oh no!
That's why the crowns are so pointy.
Coming soon in Rings of Power.
Yeah, coming soon in season 4.
We'll see Kemen plug into the dragon.
I wouldn't put it past. If Kemen is to become the Witch King, like you so claim,
he has
Jeff,
to be.
He's only going to become the Witch King from the Rankin Bass Return of the King. Where he's like, I am the Witch King, because he's so lame that he could only become the lame Witch King from.
Well, he's got like 3,000 years to get better. He's got a whole he's got all of Arnor to take down. Like he can level up. We're just not going to see it in this show. We better not see it in this show. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
But I've definitely.
The Nazgûl are definitely the actual the 9 with the rings, and they have the fell beasts that are kind of like the wyvern, not so much of a dragon like a drake, but its own type of worm.
See, now I have to go back and reread this to make sure I'm right, because I could be wrong, but I think I'm right.
Yeah, because I've argued about this with other fans before, because the word Nazgûl in Black speech means ringwraith. Because Nazg is ring and Ulairi is wraith. So Nazgûl would be ringwraith. But it's but you're right that they're often called the Nazgûl when they're in conjunction with the flying monster.
That's all I had to say about the fell beast. I had my own little pet theory that was just destroyed on camera.
No, it's but you're right that they almost exclusively use it with the monsters, but that's I think because Frodo doesn't know them as Nazgûl. Gandalf does. So a lot of the characters refer to the Ringwraiths as just Ringwraiths or as the Black Riders. Before they meet them, but once they're on the flying steeds, Frodo's learned the real name, and a lot of the other characters have learned the real name. In the movies, it's so confusing because they in the movies, definitely, they make you think that the monster is the Nazgûl. Like when it flies over and Faramir's like, Nazgûl! You know, I think that, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so building on that.
Yeah.
The only reason they start to be referred to by their proper name of Nazgûl is after the Council of Elrond,
right?
Which took months. Like, everybody there had to have been, like, info dumping, like, this is all the information we have. Mm-hmm. There's got to be something here that we can use. Like, what are Sauron's armies? What are his lieutenants? Like, everybody needs to know everything. So after, like, the whole Fellowship learns, yeah, the creepy dudes are called Nazgûl, the narrative now starts to refer to them by their correct name instead of whatever the hobbits have dubbed them, which would be like Ring Wraiths or Black Riders.
Yeah, like especially Black Riders, yeah.
Because that word or that phrase is used a lot in the Shire sections because that's what the hobbits would call them. Big Black Riders, that's what they are.
They don't even know what they are, yeah.
So here's another question then. The horses that the Ring Wraiths ride.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Are they regular horses?
Gandalf says they are.
But they've
been tortured into...
But they are from Mordor.
Yep.
And Sauron, like, if even the bugs have the eye of Sauron on them,
They're
I can't
fell
imagine.
Horses.
Fell horses.
Fell horses.
I mean, the mouth of Sauron, his horse has fire that comes out of its nostrils and eyes in the book. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not normal. I'm like...
That's cursed.
But yeah, the ring wraiths, like, because I remember there's a point where Frodo says to Gandalf, like, if the ring wraiths are invisible without their cloaks, why could we see their horses? And Gandalf's like, it's because they're real horses. They're not ghost horses. They're real horses that have been tortured into carrying these weird ghost person around with them.
The horse didn't get the ring.
No, yeah, or the golden horseshoe or whatnot that turns it into, or whatever.
Coming on season 4 of Rings of Power, the cursed horseshoes.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And kind of like the opposite of those horses are the Meras, the Kings of Gondor ride, that they say in the books explicitly are descended from, like, Orome's horses.
Yeah, Orome's hunting horses.
Yeah.
And are they the same? Is Shadowfax one of those? And the horse that the first king of Rohan
is he
rode?
directly a Maris, or is it just like part? Is it like in his blood? I can never keep that straight.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I know they mentioned the Maris.
Yeah, descendant. Yeah, I think that's right.
So he's not like fully Maris, but like he has that blood in him.
Yeah, he can understand human speech, but I don't think he has the extended lifespan. Or some of the other abilities of the Meras. I don't think the Rohirrim make the distinction, though. They're just like, he's a Meras.
Good horse. This is a good horse.
Well, like we said earlier, the horses are one of the few animal species we see that can transform before your eyes. Like Bill transformed into kind of understanding more of human speech and stuff like that from Tom Bombadil's. And then I don't know if it's in the book, but at least in the movie, Aragorn speaks Elvish to Brago, which calms him down, and then Brago becomes kind of his horse in the movie. The
question is that Brago's intelligence, or is Aragorn really good with horses? Because Aragorn is part Númenórean.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like he does have, and he's part elf, and he's part angel a little bit.
Yeah,
like, he does have our blood in him.
Yeah. Well, I think it's he's using Elvish like lore to speak to the horse, but then it almost
magic.
Yeah. Well, and it almost like wakes something up in the horse too.
Yes.
So
yeah. And to explode another myth that is developed by the movies, Shadowfax is not a white horse.
Nope.
He's a gray horse in the books.
But that doesn't match Ian McKellen's new costume change.
Nope,
so no,
it does not. Which is, I get why they did it.
Shadowfax the white.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's very striking, and but in the books describe his coat as silver gray.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why he's called because fax is like Old English for like coat, like the coat of the horse, and so Shadowfax, shadow coat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's not named after a fax machine. despite what you might think. Like,
oh, he became Shadowfax the White along with Gandalf the White in the movie.
That's right.
That'd be cool. Like he gets brought back until my task is done. You know, like,
although Tolkien could have used a fax machine. Just saying.
Would he? So like you know how like you can name your devices. You know, when they ask you when you boot it up, do you want to give it a name? Like give his fax machine the name Shadow.
I mean, at this point, most fax machines would be just a Shadow. I don't know anybody who owns one anymore.
Who uses one?
Churches use faxes a lot.
Right.
I speak from personal experience here, and it's annoying what I have to deal with getting those wonderful people that faxed me stuff.
Now, okay, the thing about animals in Middle-earth is that, like, you think, oh, it's a simple topic. You know, no. We could go forever and ever and ever about animals in Middle-earth.
This is just us going, what do we remember off the top of our heads?
That's right.
Impromptu episode.
And we're still over an hour. So, like, okay, so I know we have a few other things on this list. What did we want to get to before?
Werewolves.
Monsters. So, like, I mean, actual animals.
War pigs and rams that pull crazy contraptions.
Yes, from the movies, yeah. Or Thranduil's giant elk thing that he has.
Yeah.
My goodness, yes.
He just sits on to look magnificent, never actually uses. I mean, it works.
That's Thranduil, right? He just wants to look magnificent on stuff.
He's just a pretty boy.
Well, we also didn't talk about the Eagles airdropping Beorn into the middle of the fight.
There's a reason we didn't bring up the orbital drop.
So see, now this is just becoming a roast of the Hobbit movies again. And I thought we had 3 whole episodes about that.
Well, you weren't on those, Thomas, so or at least on the
not on the second 2. Yeah.
Yeah, you had to be here to get your lift.
You have to be here to get the full experience of the love that should not be named.
Which some might say is the real monster of Middle-earth, is the romance between an elf and a dwarf.
Okay, so
way to give our Halloween episode away, Jeff.
There's just going to be a whole episode about that.
Yeah.
A whole episode of forbidden romances. Because we have more to talk about.
Yeah, maybe I'll put it on the calendar. We'll see. So it is now clear to me that we have run this topic into the ground because we're now talking about other stuff. But I do want to thank whoever it was. Jeff, who actually did first pitch this to us on Discord? Do you remember?
I think it was kind of a group effort. I think we were just kind of like talking and talking about animals, and I think I might have said like, "Oh, that'd be a good episode topic," and then everyone kind of jumped on board.
Everybody chimed in, yeah.
So yeah.
No, I'm glad we did it. It was a lot of fun.
I just remember coming on my break and being like, 94 unread messages. Oh, Discord's popping today. Let's see what's going on.
It was kind of like that time we were talking in the Discord about Muppet Lord of the Rings, and all of a sudden there was like a million like replies to that. Yeah. But before we wrap up, we also have feedback on several of our previous episodes, right?
Yeah, and we had some feedback from someone named Robert Story, I think.
That doesn't sound right. That sounds fake. That's a made-up name.
So, Robert, if you want to give your feedback live to us on our episode on the music that we did.
Yes, absolutely. So, the music of Middle-earth is one of those topics that I love, and my heart will be eternally broken that I was not on part 1 of this episode because I have more to say. But a couple thoughts on the episode. I loved it overall, but you did not mention Fat Old Spider, which is the best song in The Hobbit, and I will not stand for this level of, like, degeneracy.
That is a really great song, though.
It is a diss track Bilbo makes up on the spot while in Mirkwood. Yeah, like, come on. It's amazing. And the second piece I had, and this is more of, like, just kind of a little fun fact that you pick up through the ether, Theoden's lament in The Two Towers, which most of us can start quoting off of memory, is actually taken from an old Anglo-Saxon poem called The Wanderer, that I have read at a ranger outing, and I could be persuaded to read. Not now. It's very long.
Yeah.
That will have to be its own thing. And it's fat. There's a lot I could say about it. And as a add-on to that, because this was brought up into the Discord, for those of you who have never heard a war horn like in person, they are very loud. And if you join our Discord, you could find the video of me half-heartedly blowing into one and still blowing out the speaker on my phone.
I mean, I imagine by design, it would have to be really loud, right? Because it's a war horn. You want to hear it over all of the noise of like medieval battle, right? So
like this is me in my garage. Like, this is me who has not played an instrument in 20 years, who played clarinet in high school, trying to go, how do I make the sound? And it's still like the volume meter on my phone just like immediately pegged into the red, and that was like a 6-second blast. Imagine somebody who can actually blow it.
Yeah. So.
Gimli. Oh,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's some live feedback there from Robert's story. And then on our Women of Middle Earth episode that we just did as well, from Sindula on Discord, she said, "Yay, some of my favorite female literary heroes. I love Eowyn." And then on YouTube, we had Daniel Harrison 7289 says, "One of my personal favorites is Varda the Star Queen, also called Elbereth in Lord of the Rings. Her name hurts the Witch King of Angmar in Shelob. She made the stars, including the sickle of the Valar, as a direct threat to Morgoth. He feared her more than any other. No one makes me think of Mary, Queen of Heaven, more than Elbereth Githoniel. You should talk about her because you are StarQuest Media. If you did an episode on the stars of Middle Earth, she could feature prominently on it." So there you go. That's an awesome episode topic there. So see, folks, if you give us ideas, they could become an episode.
Yep. That's right.
Shamelessly steal them.
All right, so that's it for this episode. I guess part 1 of Animals of Middle Earth in our 12-part Animals of Middle Earth series. No, I'm just kidding. But before we go, we'd like to take a moment to thank all of our patrons who make this show possible, including Alec C., Joshua J., Lee V., Deacon Al Vacek, and Michael D. Their generous donations help us to continue to create the Secrets of Middle-earth and all of the shows at StarQuest. You can join them at givestarquest.com. Be sure to follow the Secrets of Middle-earth in Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, or any podcast app. And you can find us on social media. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, or on X, we are at SQPN. On Instagram, we are at StarQuest Network. And don't forget that you can get your own official Secrets of Middle-earth merchandise, including our awesome t-shirt at sqpn.com/merch. It's a great way for you guys to support the show and show your love for J.R.R. Tolkien and the wonderful world of Middle-earth. So now, I know we must have missed all kinds of animals, so we'd like to hear from you, our listeners. What is your favorite animal of Middle-earth? Which ones did we miss? You can tell us on our Facebook page or on Twitter. You can send us an email. We are middleearth@sqpn.com. You can leave a comment on YouTube or on Spotify. Or, of course, visit the channel on the StarQuest Discord community, which you can find at sqpn.com/Discord. Our next episode is going to be very special because it will be, in total, our 111th episode since far back when Father Roderick was doing this. So 11-1 total episodes. So of course it's the 11st episode. We had to do something really special, which I won't spoil, and you'll just have to see for yourself. But until then, thank you, Rob Leonardi, for joining me and sharing the secrets of Middle-earth.
Thank you, Thomas.
And Robert Story, thank you as well.
Well, thank you, Thomas.
And Jeff Hecker, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Thomas.
And once again, I'm Thomas Salerno. Thank you for listening to The Secrets of Middle-earth on StarQuest.
The rocking pool is nice and cool, so juicy sweet. I
only wish to catch a fish so juicy sweet.
Here's another show on the StarQuest Network you're sure to enjoy. Let's Science. Find the show wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/science.